Oh, Lynette. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, we'll kick away again and welcome Tim Preston, please.
I'll see the server.
Yep. Hi, Tim.
Good morning. Look, thank you for your time today. Some of you do know me. I've been born in Christchurch. I've lived here probably 30 years. I've got 3 kids in intermediate and primary school. We live over in Ireland. I'm predominantly a cyclist. I bike probably about 9.5 days out of the fortnight to work, and I tend to bike by preference just about everywhere, unless I've got something big in tow like kids. I can't remember how I heard about the Safe Speeds proposal, but I thought it was fairly extraordinary and enough to get a bit interested in, and the more I read about it, the more extraordinary it seemed. And my general take on it is that I'm still gasping for someone to stand up and explain why we need to change at all. I'm not denying that there's probably a need for some change, but I haven't actually seen a case for change in terms of what the problem is, how bad the problem is, why that would motivate us actually even to be here today. I haven't seen that yet in the information. I have put a bit of effort into this. I haven't necessarily died in a ditch looking for everything, but I have asked a few questions. My general opinion is that there probably is a case for some change, but I'd be interested to know more about really how much danger we have on our 50k roads, because we don't hear much in the media about the accidents that occur in that sort of space. And how much speed is a factor in those accidents either, I don't know. My mother-in-law got run over 2 days ago, but the speed in that case was about 5 kilometres an hour of a car pulling out of a footpath, and the speed limit on the road would have had nothing to do with it. So I'm sympathetic to some degree for direction, but I'm feeling overall quite unimpressed with the motivation for the degree of the change that's proposed. Certainly in my neighbourhood, even around the schools that my children go to, congestion takes quite good care of any speed limits. You'd be lucky to get up to 15 k's an hour outside the school when the green lights come on to play. So, you know, nice to have 30. Sign would be great. It's not really going to change, I think, anything in the neighbourhood that I live in, that. I'm concerned with the breadth of the proposed changes, that the increase in road tension, like there's already a degree of tension between the people that drive sort of 49.5 kilometres an hour and the ones who prefer to drive 59. That's quite manageable. I think with this change I see that tension sort of exploding quite significantly, and it does make me concerned whether our roads will become more aggressive and dangerous because of the change in that sense. Obviously the speed limit will help. I'm also quite puzzled really about the democratic process in this case. From what I've seen on the online sort of thing that I described, that I responded to, and I went back to it a few weeks or months later, and it had changed. And so I'm not sure quite how formal this process is, whether we're here trying to make a decision soon or whether this is just exploratory kind of feeling out, but it feels to me like we've got to get this properly actually bedded down into something definite, because it's hard to comment on something that moves. And in my inquiries with friends, I've not found anyone who's heard of this. I don't know what the sympathy is in the public arena. I know there's been a lot of feedback. I'm guessing the statistics are probably 1% of Christchurch have given feedback or something significant, but it's the 99% that concern me that are quite oblivious to this. That's my general experience from just talking with colleagues around this issue. What are you talking about? Never heard of it. Surely you're crazy. Where's this coming from? Most of them haven't seemed to have gone past that initial reaction to find out more. So in my sort of summary of the overall, I find the breadth of the proposals, at least the last version that I did study probably 2 months ago, pretty extraordinary. It'd be the biggest change I can think of that Christchurch would have made in my lifetime. Quite profound and significant, and in my book vastly overreaching in terms of any perception I have of need, and that it would be the type of decision where I'd be expecting a fairly high level democratic process, like potentially even a referendum or something that got tied in with a local body election or some sort of process that made sure that we actually had, if half Christchurch thought this was a great idea, I'm not going to stand in the way of it, but I don't feel like there's anything like that sort of groundswell of support evident, and that's really what I have to say.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tim. Tyler, you've got a question?
Yep. Go ahead, Tim. Just a couple of questions around your lived experience. Which area in Ireland are you living in at the moment? Sort of what?
If you know the university and Fenelton School, Cobham Intermediate, we've lived in Memorial Ave up for the last 10 years. We're currently in Clyde Road, quite close in that area as well, quite close to
So they're
Medbury.
quite fast areas there in Clyde Road, etc.
I don't find Clyde Road particularly fast. Usually when I'm driving through in the periods of rush hour traffic, it's quite quiet. There's not a lot of traffic where we are. Memorial Ave in our area was single lane, so it's mainly congested when I'm travelling through it as well. Further out, we've got Memorial Ave 2-laned at 60. Yes, that's fair enough. That's a faster area.
And do you use the protected cycle lanes when you're going to work, or
Sometimes. I mean, obviously they don't go everywhere. I try to use Hagley Park quite a bit, but I'm relatively comfortable. As a cyclist, I'm quite strong. I tend to keep up with the moving traffic. I feel quite comfortable moving with the traffic in the normal sort of commuting times. I'm sometimes even going faster than the traffic, and then I've got issues trying to get around the stationary sort of obstructions.
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Sorry, Andre, we are out of time. Are you all right? So thank you, Tim. Really appreciate you coming in, talking to us and taking the time to do that.
Thank you.